Welcome Laura Dietrich with the USD Castor Family Center for Nonprofit and Philanthropic Research, and Walter Phillips with the San Diego Youth Services, a nonprofit participant in the study. Now, Laura, give us a snapshot of what the nonprofit sector looks like here in San Diego County. Like, how many profits are there, or nonprofits are there?
There are about 9,300 nonprofits that are the kind of nonprofit where you write a check, it's tax deductible. We call them public charities. And that seems like a lot, Peggy, but there's really about 2,200 that have paid employees. So that kind of gives you an idea of the scale of what we're talking about here.
What's their range of work? That sounds like a lot of nonprofits to me.
Well, you know, if we think about it, we're sitting inside a nonprofit. KPBS is a nonprofit, and they range from arts, environment, they social services, they take care of the elderly, hospitals, some universities. So they just this huge universe of organizations.
And what are some of the key takeaways as far as from this report?
Well, nonprofits are a really critical component. What we really want people to understand is they're a critical component not only of the social fabric of our community, I think we understand that, but they're also a big important part of our economy. They employ a lot of people. Those people go and spend money in our economy. They attract grant dollars and donations from outside into our region. The research, some of the research that goes on at research institutions brings big government money here, hospitals. So they're a vibrant part of our overall economic landscape.
And Walter, what does your organization do, and how did you participate in doing this report?
Sure. San Diego Youth Services has been around since 1970, and we provide a full range of services, safety, shelter, and comprehensive support to some of our most vulnerable youth, ages 0 to 25. We help at-risk children and their families become self-sufficient and reach their highest potential.
And what did you do? Did you fill out surveys, or how did you actually get the information for this report to the researchers?
I'm one of the trend reporters for the survey, and I get a survey that's sent to me online, and I fill it out online.
And they'd ask basically how many donors you had, or what kind of questions?
There's some demographic information that's asked, and they also ask us for some information or some opinions on what are some of the trends that we see as nonprofit leaders happening in our community.
Well, speaking of which, I know that the report offers quite a bit of details about the way people give, and I've actually found that San Diegans tend to donate their treasure more than their time. So I'll start with you, Walter. What do you think some of the pros and cons are of giving money versus maybe donating your time?
Well, I think it's important that people give at whatever capacity they're able to give, and whether that's treasure, time, and or talent. I think it's important that people give at what level and get involved in our community. So I wouldn't say that one is more important than the other for us nonprofits. We can use whatever resources we can to help the different constituents that we're serving.
And Laura, do you think that is a trend, or is that just something that ebbs and flows?
Well, it can ebb and flow. It certainly ebbs and flows with the overall economy. So, you know, we saw in the recession giving decline slightly and things like that. But they're intricately related to how people feel about nonprofits. That's the other thing our research has shown, that San Diegans are extremely confident in nonprofits to do the things that they're tasked to do, provide services and such. So those three things are tied together. If you're not confident, you're not going to donate.
Let's talk about that public confidence in nonprofits. I know this year, I know this study was for 2013, but this year we had the Balboa Park Centennial problems. We had the CEO of the local chapter of the Red Cross abruptly leaving. Even one might say the opera and that possibility of folding. What kind of impact do you see that has on the public?
Well, we haven't done our quarter where a lot of that activity has happened. We haven't measured that yet. I can tell you though, and Walter can talk about this too, nonprofits, confidence in nonprofits, we're bound together. You know, if you go somewhere and eat a bad hamburger at a restaurant, you'll just go maybe somewhere else to get a hamburger. But people paint the sector with a much larger brush. We rise and fall together a lot of times around these things. So we probably will see some impact.
In a nutshell, and I'll start with you, Walter, what do you think the biggest challenges are facing San Diego's nonprofits?
I think our biggest challenge is really the shrinking of dollars, especially discretionary dollars for nonprofits, and finding new ways of bringing in income and revenue to continue to meet the expanding needs. We're seeing growing needs of our community in the different sectors we serve.
And would you agree with that, Laura? Would you say that's the main issue?
Well, That's one of them. It's a complex operating environment. So Walter and people like him are having to work not just by themselves anymore, but with all different kinds of constituencies, government and corporations. And so it's a very complex operating environment.
All right. Well, I want to let folks know that they can read the State of Nonprofits report at kpbs.org. Laura Dietrich and Walter Phillips, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy.